Hello.
I don't know.
Hello. So you all got back yesterday?
There it is. Okay, it started recording. So this must be our
Okay.
8th meeting or something like that?
Wow. Yeah, I have
Is
no
it?
idea.
I think so, yeah.
Cool. Nice.
How are you?
I just got the laser in the mail, but I haven't opened it.
Oh, unboxing time!
Unboxing
Did I open it
meeting.
up? I'm a little bit tempted to not open it until we move to Colorado because we're moving really soon. But
That
I can
makes a
show
lot
you
of
the box just
Yes.
for the record. It's very small. This is the whole thing.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
some assembly
So
work.
I was pleasantly surprised. I feel like it's so small that I kind of want to just like keep it boxed up, and then I feel like I'll find whatever the use for it is. Like I'll definitely use it, because even if the laser turns out to be wonky, I'll just replace the laser with another tool and then reprogram it with Geometron. So I'll end up using it one way or the other. I think
Yep.
I'll just bring it to Denver. At this point, we're moving to Denver in September, it looks like. So I'm just like
Awesome.
not really enthusiastic about putting something complicated together that I'm going to take apart soon.
That makes sense. And speaking of Denver, when you get there, I will remember to hook you up with my friend Abe. He's my army brother, and we met in Belgium. And he is a genius level like you. Like I'm surrounded by all these wonderful geniuses, and he's another one. He's very esoteric and into the occult and art and stuff like that.
Excellent.
Just really, really cool guy. Well read, well versed. Yeah, you're
Awesome. Is he in the Denver metro?
Yes, he is. I forget exactly where. I want to say Westminster.
That sounds plausible.
But
We're
I will
moving to
double
Lakewood,
check.
so that's kind of very similar western, like edge city, western side of the city.
Yes.
So not far. Excellent. That's great.
Yeah. He's anarcho left kind of guy.
Oh yes, please. Yes. This is what I need. I mean, so basically, part of my whole thing is that I want to build this network with the cardboard, and I'm increasingly convinced that like just Sharpie and cardboard is like a whole layer of the network that needs to like run on its own. And so what I've been doing is I've been playing around with making the cubes in a like repeatable fashion without laser stuff at all, like just by hand. And then making cards like this that go into the cubes. And then the idea is you can have if you have these cubes in many locations, these are free to make. They're tedious without a laser, but you don't need any like paid materials. Like you can turn trash into these cubes, and then you can turn trash into cards, and you put the cards in the cubes, and then you put the cubes all over town, and then you have a network.
We saw your TikTok that had them hanging from a tree, and I was like, yes,
No, I was
so
looking at that on your website today. I was looking at the frame to hang them from the tree, and we definitely need to, if we can probably reverse design that file, but if you have that file, send it over.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
I know it's just like a 4-inch square and then a 6-inch square.
Yeah,
so
I
it's
can
really
make
easy.
it. Let me make a note to make it. It's just a 6-inch frame on the outside.
Right.
So it's
You should have a notebook.
It's okay. I know this piece.
I know, but for the meeting, I need to jot things
So
down.
see this?
Yes.
So that's a 4-inch, or that's a 1-inch by 6-inch ruler. So it's a 6-inch frame all the way around.
Okay.
And then I just cut these 45-degree things basically by eye. It's a centered 45-degree piece. And then the way that works with the clothesline is that this just slip fits over the box like so. And so then when you want to suspend it, what you want to do is put it, you want it to be friction slip fit, and then you put it pretty close to the top, and you have the line. Let me get a clothesline. Find a clothesline. But yeah, that's definitely going to be helpful for both the social media and for like planter hangers.
Yes,
planter hangers. Like a spider plant hanging from something or whatever. So yeah, here it is.
Okay. Yes.
So, and then you can also, I think, if you put this up against a wall, You can also, if you have, you
Oh.
can make that be vertically
Mm-hmm.
situated where you can have a series of these. So if you have these with a significant amount of weight, see how if I pull on
Yes.
it, it like holds it. If you have that pushed up against a wall, then you could have a series of these going down, and you could have objects in them, and then those are like little mailboxes. They're like mailboxes for these things, and then
That's
these
right.
things I can print on them with the robot, but it's very important, I think, that the robot is optional. So like you can print on them with the robot and whatever, that's like my whole shtick, but that's not necessary in order
Mhm.
to just like you take a
You can just write a
pen.
message on a card.
You can. That's it. You just write a message on a card. It's all just an elaborate ploy to get people
So
to do
we didn't,
really
I don't think I've got a chance to tell you, we have county fair coming up. And what our plan for county fair is, they're already super excited. They developed a trash robot category for us.
Yeah. Mhm.
So they have a whole recycled art day, and we want to come in with about a dozen of these boxes and about 500 of these cards and invite people to do exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Draw on the cards, stick them in a box, and then we have a whole collection. Maybe after the fact, we put them up as a mural somewhere in town or something.
Well, to me, the real power of this comes from when people use them to promote their own stuff. So what would be really ideal is if you get other vendors to just like make a card and stick it in the thing. And then, because I think that's where the media starts to really self-replicate, is when somebody who is a real vendor, who's actually like making money selling their kettle corn or whatever, if they're able to use these cards to sell whatever it is they're selling, then the thing's just going to go.
Yes. Perfect. We'll approach people on that.
I was just thinking of this because, like you said, it is a little difficult to cut by hand. So I'm thinking if we scale
just
this,
a tiny bit.
Yeah, but
it's just tedious. It's not difficult. It's tedious.
Tedious. There you go. Yeah.
You know what's really?
Did you tell him that you can cut through 2 layers?
Oh, not yet.
I got one of these. This helped.
Oh.
Mad.
Uh-huh.
So I got this for like $8 on Amazon, along with a whole bunch of X-Acto knives. But I mostly use this with the smaller box cutters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was thinking of scaling this up to 1.5 times so that it just, you basically make a container for these. So you have, like you're doing with hanging the cards, but you just have these so people can take them and build them. Yeah.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea. So you make like a 6, so let's see, how big would that, if you want it to be just big enough to fit a 4-inch piece, then you could make it be like a 5-inch outer size, so it's 1/2 inch on each side, and then it would be a 4-inch slot.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess if you made it 6 inches, that would be the 1.5 scale up. And it's 6 inches, then it like fits in really easily. So that's nice. Yeah, I see. That's a great idea. Okay, let me make a note of that. I could do that. I've got plenty of cardboard. I've been stockpiling it.
Yeah, and then you have one for the bottoms and one for the side, or maybe like just one big one with the divider in between, so you have the bottoms and the sides. I don't really know.
Yeah, I mean, just one thing that I find useful is just having a whole pile of 4-inch squares, because 4-inch squares can be processed into bottoms or sides or panels or pieces for the robot.
Yeah. You could have one with empties.
So
with no
you can
notches
just
cut
have
out.
blank 4 inches, and then that also requires a lot less skill. Like if all you want to do is make a 4-inch square, you can kind of just like take a giant yardstick and make like a big 4-inch grid, and then just go long cut, long cut, long cut, long cut, and make a lot of the 4-inch squares quickly. So like one type of person could be making those potentially, and then you can either pass it off to somebody who's like more willing to do tedious work, or to somebody with a laser.
Yep.
Or I think in the long run, the laser, the real like correct way to do it, I think when you scale it up, is to have a punch. You want a mechanical punch. And then you put a bunch of time into getting that like blade configuration correct, and getting enough leverage, and getting a nice like spot to hold the thing. And then when the squares come in, you have the squares, you just put them on a little stage with an alignment rail of some kind, and then you have a lever, and you go thunk, 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 and then you could automate that too. Like you could have a big machine that just has them go along and goes like on a conveyor belt and pushes them in, ka-thunk, pushes it in, ka-thunk. And I think that is probably what happens at a box factory when they have those like handle cutouts and stuff.
Oh, right.
Is
Oh,
that like when you get a large, run of 10,000 boxes that all have a handle cut out, I don't think that's a laser. I think that's a blade.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Chuck, 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 chuck.
All day. So yeah. What did you ask me before? If I told him about?
Dang. Oh, that it cuts through 2 layers.
Yes, 2 layers. So I got
Excellent.
the settings for the 2 layers. So
And it
we're
wasn't even full capacity.
Yeah.
He was able to run it at 80%.
80% power and 25 speed. 25 millimeters per second speed seems to be it. To do 2
25
layers.
millimeters per second.
Mm-hmm.
So
No.
that's an inch.
Yeah.
So if I'm going total of so going all the way around is like 20 seconds or something like that, or
And so to cut the 2 layers.
16,
What?
maybe 20 seconds.
seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
To do 1?
To go all the way around
One
Oh, yeah.
square.
but 2 squares. Yeah.
Yeah. It took
Oh,
4
that's 2, so 20
4
seconds.
minutes, almost 4.5. The time said 4.3. 4 minutes 30 seconds. I think that's what it was. It said 4.3. I don't know if that means 4.5 or whatever, but 2 layers, 25 speed, 80 power, and we were able, because ours, we have a
Okay.
her bed is bigger, but the cardboard that we had was already cut to a 16 by 16.
16 by 16.
Yeah, but hers is 16 by 24. So we were able to cut 24 sides and 9 bottoms.
In one run?
In one run, yeah.
And that was like under 5 minutes.
Oh, sorry. No. Let me rephrase that. Each. So just the sides was 24, and I only had 1 layer. So this it wasn't 2 layers with the bottoms, but the 1, 2. Sorry, I'm confusing
You're
everyone.
confusing.
I am. 2 layers of cardboard for just the sides. I was able to cut 24.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, so 24 total.
Total, yeah, 12
Sides.
each layer. Yep.
And that
Sides.
total, and that 24 sides, that was a run that took like under 5 minutes.
Correct. 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes at most. Yeah.
And for sides, we need 3 times 4 is 12 per box. So 24 is enough for 2 boxes of sides.
That's right.
And that's 5 minutes. So we could be making more than 10 boxes an hour in theory. Like 10 boxes an hour is on the edge, which is a lot of freaking boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I am also going to experiment with 3 layers because I am confident that the laser could do 3 layers, but my estimated guess, my educational guess is that the bottom layer, you'll have to X-Acto it out.
On at least just the back side of it.
Yeah, on the back side.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, that's fine.
But 2 layers definitely works. You can do 2 boxes with those 2 layers because on the, how many bottoms do you need for one? Just 3?
3, yeah.
Okay, so you're able, just on 1 layer, you're able to do 3 boxes because I was able to cut out 9.
On the sides of
I see. That's right. So it's like 10 boxes an hour, like roughly, very roughly.
I need to move the level.
Is that right? No, 10 bucks an hour would be 6 minutes. It's not. It's between 5 and 10 boxes an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's prep time too, so maybe we'll call it like five boxes an hour. So in the end, part of what I'd really like to see is this idea, like what you were saying about the ratio of cards to cubes, where you have like lots of cards, then you have a bunch of cubes, and then you want it so that like cubes, the easier it is, the better, but like it's always going to be a higher bar than the cards. I'm trying to have this pyramid, right? It's like all these things, you know, where you have
Sure.
like in a tech company, there's like the founders, and then there's the coders, and then there's the non-technical employees, and then there's the people who are like the equivalent of the Uber and Lyft drivers, and then there's the equivalent of the Uber and Lyft riders. And like we've got this whole, you know, level of participation where what the trick is, if you can deploy like 10 cubes, can you then use that to engage hundreds of people in the card economy where they don't learn to use the robot, they don't learn to use any of the digital stuff, they just take a Sharpie and a card and like make a little advertisement for their business and stick it in a cube, and then they start making money on that, like Craigslist.
Yeah.
Right? Like Craigslist went live, and when people start using it, they're immediately selling their bicycle and like making money.
Sorry, don't use that. No.
And so then 10 cubes in, like you make a few dozen cubes in a day, and you start dropping them in coffee shops and I don't know where, libraries, art galleries, religious institutions, government buildings, schools, I don't know, parks.
This would definitely take off in schools because students could exchange, like I'm talking elementary schools, they could exchange art projects on the cards.
Sure.
Valentine's
High
Day.
school kids will get up to all kinds of shenanigans immediately.
Yes.
I've been trying to decide whether I want to put these near the high school here or like I feel like the high school kids have already seen some of the stuff I've dropped, and I don't know, like I guess I might as well just try it. But high school kids could get themselves into some trouble, I guess. But I feel like the high school kids are so earnest here about getting into college that they'll very quickly want to like mess with stuff in an interesting way, would be my guess, and not like do anything.
Yeah.
My friend,
Particularly
I'm on a hard list. Quick. No plants. Over there.
So that's been my emphasis in the last week, has been just pushing as hard as I can away from the tech and trying to make these cute, like trying to visualize a social media system that's cubes, cards, and then the pie crust network being used just to distribute media that's not like any of my nonsense. Like I've written all of these formats that are like my own eccentric formats or whatever, but the idea of the pie crust is that like what I did, I bought all of Third Person's discography, you know, Third Person on TikTok.
Yeah, that sounds very familiar. Yeah.
They did Barracuda Week. There's just like this incredibly eclectic TikTok account that he talks about his process a lot. I support him on Patreon. He did I don't want to be peeing and pooping and farting, and there was a really, he went viral. He had a few like pretty viral songs. There was like a pooping song, and then there was like very weird, different kind of eclectic, catchy things. Anyway, I like his process. I like his music. And so he has a thing on Bandcamp where you can just buy his whole discography, which is like, I want to say 300 megabytes or something like that, because he's got a few like just like really long MP3s and stuff. So I downloaded all of them. And then I put them in a directory, and then I made him a homepage that he doesn't know about this yet, but because, and it's not on the internet. So it's like, this is the thing I'm experimenting with, is I want to see if I can go to a public place and say like, hey, scan this QR code. And then I've got this guy's total discography, which I feel okay about because I paid for it and it's not on the internet.
Right.
And then it's this idea of somebody sees that, and then instead of doing the usual thing where you have one of these and you're like, hey, log on to here and you can see all my little books about anarchy or whatever, then instead it's like, no, this is like music, music that people actually care about, and you're trying to distribute to be the media. And so I've been using his work just as an example because I can't see it if it isn't set up right.
Sure.
And that's what I'm trying to do in Colorado. Like the whole idea now is I don't have any other real plan, I have money saved so I can live on for a while. So the idea is we move to Colorado and I'm just going to start making cubes and distributing them, and then trying to convince people to build the servers using their existing hardware, using like just shitty laptops they already have. Because if they can build the servers using existing laptops, and if they build the cubes out of trash, then we can scale without capital.
Yes.
And that's where the magic comes in. That's the magic in this whole system, is if we can figure out how to scale literally anything without injection of capital, then we have the power of the gods. I mean, you can do anything at that point. And because that's the thing that the capitalists can't do. They don't scale at a profit. They all scale by just borrowing infinite amounts of money.
Mhm.
Even these things, they hide it from you because they don't charge the customer money. So you're like, oh, it's just magical. Oh, they just scaled overnight. But they never scale overnight. They because their shit is always, these tech companies, they get into the app store and they deploy on this whole pile of technologies that they pay an arm and a leg for. And in order to get in the app store, it's all gate kept. So they have all these coders and they have intellectual property. And then by the time you even have one investor, you have to promise this huge payout, which means everything is locked up in intellectual property or you can't do it. And so if we can get around that.
One of the ways that I'm thinking about doing that, based on our experience here in Vegas, is scavenger hunts with prizes.
Yes.
You know, because not
And even if the prize is a photo op,
yeah,
in today's like day and age, if the prize is just like a really good backdrop or just like a really interesting
one
place
thing the cards can do.
Yeah.
So we went. I think we told you we went to Omega Mart. Did we tell you about that?
Yeah, you just said that, but you didn't talk about the details.
So yeah, Omega Mart is like a grocery store in the quantum world, essentially.
Right. I think
I'm gonna
I've seen
drop some pictures. Yeah, you've seen pictures of it, so it's wild and crazy, and it's
great.
So you can just visit it, and there's all these crazy things, whatever. But you can actually go to a desk, and they give you a little hotel key card thing looking, and it's an RFID card. And they have all these kiosks throughout the entire place that you can go up to, and it's a scavenger hunt, and it tells you what to do next. And then that whole thing takes about 2 hours to do, they said. But then there's a whole nother dimension of it where you can do this extra scavenger hunt and solve riddles that are within the world. And then they scale from easy to hardest. And Michael and I just wanted to go all the way. And we did the hardest one, which is
finding a knock-knock joke.
Finding a knock-knock joke that someone wrote in Sharpie throughout the entire place. And mind you, this is
and it's like under the tables.
Yeah.
Like you have to be on your hands and knees looking
Yeah.
for it. It was
See,
a blast.
that's the kind of thing we need to get out of the art spaces and into the real world.
Yes.
If we get that out into the street in a city,
right.
There's no limit to what you can do, because then all of that activity that's all real. You can have people picking up real trash and building real infrastructure. It's not a game anymore. Like, you can gamify it, but if we can gamify the process of expanding the network, like the main thing is go find more cardboard, go build more cubes, go make more cards. And if that's gamified, I mean, that's sort of what these awful crypto people have done. They've like gamified growing their network.
Yep.
But the problem is that their network doesn't do anything, and it costs a shit ton of energy. And so, like, it's kind of the same model. We want to gamify the growing of the network, but you don't consume any grid energy to do it, and you don't need money to do it. You just need some tools. And you can steal those, Sharpies. I feel like you can get Sharpies from offices. Like, in a downtown area, people can steal Sharpies from their offices very easily.
Very easily, yes.
They're common, and box cutters often as well.
Oh. Karma just built a cube while we've been talking.
Boom! Yeah, I can almost smell it through the screen.
Yeah, my fingertips.
I know exactly what that smells like.
Yes. One of the other things that we're going to do is create a new pattern so that you can upload it to the website, where it's technically called like the one-line print.
Yeah.
And so when you make an array of the sides, the laser, here, let me do this. The laser treats this as two individual shapes, but you can make it so that this part is just one line. All of this is one line.
And that's what's
Yeah.
going to cut down on the cut time
Yeah,
ultimately.
it'll cut down, instead of being 4.5 minutes, I guarantee you it'll be like 2 minutes or something, because it's only doing, yeah, you know what I'm
That's
saying.
what the really ridiculously expensive laser does. That's
Mhm.
it's actually crazy fast. Like I think doing a whole pattern like that, it goes choo, 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 choo. It's like I forget what the company is. I sent you the photo of it before.
Yeah.
No,
Big old monster.
whatever. But it's down right now because they're replacing it with another new one.
Oh, the Epilogue. Yeah, the Epilogue's
Epilogue, yeah.
capable of that. Yeah.
Yeah, Epilogue Fusion or something like that. Yeah, it's like $20,000 machine, I think. But it's nice, but I will only have access to it for another month.
There will be a makerspace in Denver that you'll be able to touch base with. That's like one of the first places you might want to hook up with is a makerspace, because they're going to grab your idea and they're going to want to replicate it.
Yeah, I think, well, the public library has a very good one. So I'm just going to, well, I mean, yeah, I'm going to connect. There's a whole bunch of them. There's like the public library. There's DenHack, which I think still exists, which is a hacker space. It's like one of those maker spaces that's a bunch of like guys who drink beer and hack computers, like DEF CON types. And then the library is a maker space, but there's also a campus that's like a bunch of intersecting. There's like 3 different universities that share a campus. So I'm hoping they have a maker space.
Oh, that's perfect.
So yeah, I want to get this into college campuses, and that's part of the thing about moving to Denver is like right now I am isolated from everything. Like without a car, I can't get to anything but actually my work, and I'm gonna try to get this into my work before I leave. Just like see if I can get the interns into it, because the interns have some time. But yeah, when I go to Denver, I'm hoping to get this into like campuses. There's a lot of campuses. University of Colorado Denver, University of Colorado Boulder, University of Denver, Metro State, Colorado School of Mines. Yeah, I'll just take the bus around and distribute these things and see where it goes. But yeah, I'm really hoping we can figure out the card thing, because that's the trick. That's the part, like there's so many projects right now where everybody's trying to make like the free internet, but it doesn't like it doesn't go, because it doesn't have a thing. It doesn't have like a hook. And if we can have the hook not be the tech, the less tech we have, the better. And you just say like, we're trying to build social networks of human beings who are exchanging useful things made out of trash. And if that starts with the cubes, I feel like that's hopefully enough to get energy into the system. If people use it to sell stuff, then there's money. And that's the trick is like in principle, you could sell a cube or you could sell a card. But if you do that up front, it changes like the value proposition. What I think we want to be doing is building a media network which allows people to use it for free to make money on whatever it is they're doing. And
that's ultimately hacking. That's the hack that you want to get. You want to find a way to get money out of the system without having to put money into it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's very delicate. You know, the crypto people have made it look like they're doing that, but they're not.
But it's not.
They're really not. Because their thing doesn't do anything. So like I've looked at a bunch of these crowdfund things, and they're like, I saw one, there's a Discord I'm in for this politician in New York, Paperboy the Prince, and so they're like all in on this Web3 stuff and whatever. Like I like their other work, so fine. So I was looking at it, and they're all just crowdfund campaigns. Like all they're really doing is asking for money. Front where like somebody has to just give them money, but like that's what Cash App does. But Cash App is much better because Cash App doesn't take as much as Bitcoin does. So like it's Cash App but worse. Whereas like Craigslist, when it works, I mean, I sold a bus on Craigslist. I without Craigslist, I never would have figured out how to get rid of that. No, it was eBay. I take it back. It was eBay. But whatever. I got stuck.
Craigslist still works.
It still works and does this. Yeah, it does that.
Yeah, it's real shit. Like eBay, people don't go to eBay so that they can just like send each other money for no reason. People
Right.
buy and sell stuff on, people make a living on eBay. And we've got to have it where somebody's like, oh, I can do this and it's going to make me some money. And if that happens, then everything else is easy because, you know, once one person makes money, then somebody else is going to copy it.
Yep.
And if somebody else copies it and they make money, then the system grows. And if the system grows, then you've squared the circle because god damn, I know I keep coming back to this, but like I spent all this time trying to scale a hardware based business for profit, and it was just a bloody nightmare because you're trying to grow by like getting money from customers to put back into the business, but everybody in the modern age is just getting venture money and like pouring in millions of dollars in venture money.
No.
And so it's, you either turn into one of those crazy exponential growth venture backed startups or you die, or you end up in like the slow death where, you know, I knew people who were like year 7 of still not breaking even and like doing another thing. And they're like, every month they make about $700 in sales and spend about $700 on inventory, and they've been doing this for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, man. Yeah, no, I think so. I keep eliminating things. Like I hate to do it, but I've kind of like, I think the robot is a cool hook and I love robotics and I want to do it as part of my career. But for the basic, like what I want to replicate, the robot is way too complicated for 99% of people.
That's right, other people. Yeah.
It's a neat story,
Maybe a
but
starter
it's
one,
really
but-
hard.
It won't be a starting place, but the reality is it does solve something, and it is a good, like, since we already want to build these servers and these networks, it is like it fits. It does fit. But
Yeah, it has a
you're right,
role.
it's not
It
on
has
the
a
bottom
role.
level.
Yeah.
You're right, it's not on the accessible level.
We're trying to build so many things. I mean, it's kind of crazy. It's like if you look at the modern internet and you take all of these things between the touch screens and the cameras and the internet and the routers and like all these different software services and the operating systems, there's so many things, and we're not trying to replace all of them, but we're trying to replace capitalism as a mode of production.
Yes.
While also trying to replace a significant fraction of the software and hardware stacks.
Yes.
It's really
Replace, or not even necessarily replace, but reuse. Hack and reuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's so interesting about this system too, is we're not making new shit. We're taking the
Right.
shit that already exists and turning
Hopefully.
it into something better.
We'll find stuff that's sitting in people's drawer, you know, where people have all these extra Raspberry Pis. Because, yeah.
All these extra cell phones.
Phones. Yeah, exactly. There you
Yeah.
go.
He's working on turning one into a Raspberry Pi now. That's what he's trying
Excellent.
to figure out.
Yeah, if you get any flavor of Linux working, you can put Apache on and PHP, and then you're gold. Although I actually run a server on my phone, the KS Web, it's documented on the website. There's an Android app that will let you run a server on a Android.
Oh, KS Web, you say?
Yeah, it's some Russian guy, but I think you have to give him money. I think it's like $4 or something.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I have a link to it on the README on the webpage. But yeah, I use that to run a local server. Now that comes with all the usual security caveats, like anything where you have a web server that's on like a private machine and you let other people see it, then people say, oh my God, you know, the world's going to end. You're going to get hacked and blah, 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 blah. But I'm always a little skeptical of all of that because like you're on some Wi-Fi at a farmer's market. Like if somebody is such an elite hacker that they're going to like sit there and custom write a script to hack your thing, I feel like they're just going to start talking to you about hacker stuff instead of hacking your thing, right? Like you're going to find the one other elite hacker in your rural area in Oregon.
Yeah.
That's way too
Right.
logical, and way too logical, and not nearly fear-based enough for our culture. Like,
Yeah, people are so into cybersecurity as like a performance of like I put my phone in the washing machine and close the door and all this stuff. And it's like, well, all right. What is the weak link here? I don't know. You're not talking about anything illegal anyway.
Oh, freaking great. One of the other designs is for the planter. I want to put a, like, it's a square, but you know, when you turn it sideways 45 degrees, it becomes a diamond at the bottom here. So it can be a little outlet for water when you put the plants.
Yeah.
also,
Excellent.
still really want to see these with a hole in the bottom.
That's what I'm saying. It could be the whole.
No. I'm saying like literally a hole big enough to run PVC through, and then you can run a PVC pipe because then you can stack these so high and
Right.
they'll still have integrity to like stand up. I don't know exactly what the application of it is for yet, but it's just something that was in my mind in the beginning.
Like vertical gardening?
It wouldn't necessarily be even for gardening. It would be for like building more out of the cubes.
Oh yeah, as a structural element. So like for something like making a laser cutter. You could just build. You
Yeah.
build the thing
Yeah.
up and
And
then
then they almost
over
become
and
like
then
nets.
around. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
That's a whole game sort of. That's like a whole game sort of system. They almost
Yeah,
become
I mean
nets.
that's another thing about these cubes is that once they start getting social, once there's lots of them, they stack easily. So
Yes.
if
And did you
people
see what
show up in a space
Yeah.
and they have lots of cubes, the cubes can start to stack and you can build, real structures. I mean, you could cast concrete into them and just make retaining walls, I think, if you use some
Oh, yeah, you
kind
could
of
do that
cement.
too.
Yes.
You could just use it as the basis for a cement block of some kind. If you're trying to make like a retaining wall or a thermal barrier or something like that.
There's so much that you can do with these. Yeah, you're right. There's so much that you can do with the cube trash. This is a really good angle to take.
People like them on their desks, I think. You can put your office supplies. I've been noticing now that we've been doing this, I've been noticing that this is a product that actually exists in the world. Like when I go to the office in the apartment building I live in, the office people have one, like a cube very similar to this sitting on the desk to hold pens in for people who are signing stuff. So it's a pretty
And
common
if it was made out of
product.
trash, it'd just be that much better.
Yeah, and then they just keep replicating and they appear all over the place. And and then we just build up a culture of people snagging Sharpies from wherever and throwing them in the thing. And then the plastic shapes, the plastic shapes, you all have a tool to make them. I have a tool at work. We can make them at Ponaco. You don't need them, but I like the idea of trying just have it be like a thing where we don't ever try to like push them on people, but then once people see them, they go, "Oh, I want some of that." And you say, "Well, okay, if you want it, just go order, do a run on Ponaco. You can spend a couple $100 and get like 100 of them or something, and then just distribute them. And then you can put branding on these. So
That's cool.
people
Yes.
can use these as like a branded media. So that's the motivation, is that like in Denver, I try to find all these green rush people. The weed industry is like bonkers with the marketing. So I'm hoping to try to like get those people to view this as a way to market their stuff. And then like, I'm not going to market their stuff, but if they view it as a vehicle, then we can have these things all up and down the strip where they have all the dispensaries, and they
That's
can,
right.
Yeah.
I think they'll use it for marketing. They're pretty aggressive with their marketing.
I mean, all we have to do is they get coupons, or they print coupons, or design a coupon to go on our little cubes, and we hide coupons throughout town.
Oh yeah, I can print green leaf and a logo on these things. Yeah, coupon. That's a fucking good idea. Coupons is like a whole. Yeah. If businesses are willing to do coupons this way.
And so
That's
many are willing to do like
huge
10 or
for us.
20%, like just for
Yeah.
funsies. Like they don't
Yeah,
care.
it's the same
And it-
business
yeah, it
model
doesn't
as
even-
like Groupon or stuff, but we have no overhead.
Exactly.
That, no overhead, and it doesn't cost them to do anything because it's fucking
yeah,
cardboard,
it's free.
trash.
It's trash.
Yeah.
Like if they donate some of the trash, like
Yeah,
you
don't.
could go to a place and be like, hey, we're looking for cardboard. Give us some cardboard. And also, if you want to just send us an SVG of your logo, we're happy to read it.
Yeah, it could be the same business.
Yes.
So like, because every single business that's a brick and mortar business takes stuff, they take deliveries that have cardboard.
Yep.
Yep.
So you could take cardboard that's from one of their shipments that has branding on it from one
Yep.
of their suppliers already
Yes.
without printing anything on it. You just
That's
take
right.
like liquor boxes from the liquor store, cut them up, and then put coupons for the liquor store.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the trash magic. You can take the trash from a business and turn it into coupons for that business.
Yes. Yes.
And then
Yes.
that-
Yes.
And then that becomes something that makes them money using our platform.
Absolutely.
So our platform is literally just the concept of taking trash and cutting it up and writing on it with a marker.
Yes.
It's simple.
Simple.
Yeah.
It's simple, and you know what? That's what it takes to succeed in capitalism is a simple,
Yeah.
stupid idea.
Well, and that's the beauty of it, is it's so obvious that it's crossing a line where like we can do it because we're not trying to sell it.
Yeah.
But because it's obvious, this is not an investable business.
Mhm.
And that's the key, is that we've put ourselves in a place where a venture capital backed startup cannot compete. There are because this is very similar to, you know, the free water company.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like, it's really douchey. It's like they say they're making the world a better place, blah, 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 blah. But it's like it ends up being kind of predatory because it has to be, because there has to be like a piece that somebody owns.
Mhm.
And what we're doing, we're not going to own the process.
That's right.
And in theory, we could make nothing, like zero. There could be $1 trillion of trade that happens when we would literally not make a dime. And that's something you can't do if you're an investor-backed company. You
Yeah,
cannot
that's
do
true.
it.
That's true.
And I think we can, because if you see the quantity of commerce going up and up and up and up, if we have any ability to interact with it at all, then we can like just dip into the stream a little bit and then just say like, okay, look, we did that. So we're going to do a GoFundMe and raise like 50 grand or something like that. Because like you start to get where enough people care, and then, you know, so yeah, it crosses a lot of things that we're trying to do, because it's a thing where it can be wildly successful within capitalism, but only because we're creating an entity which is not a company.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
That
yeah, yeah.
entity is existing in symbiosis with capitalism, but it's not a company. Because if
And
it's a
then it
company, it
will
would
be-
be not investable, because there's no IP.
And then
Go
once
ahead.
capitalism crashes,
Yeah,
it'll
right.
be solid and it will just continue being as it is.
Right. As capitalism as capitalism collapses, more energy can come into the system because we can use the stuff to build. And that's when all the robots become real. That's when you're like,
Yes.
yeah. This was
Yes.
just a hook. We're actually trying to build the entire thing, and we have agricultural automation and our own microfabrication to build up all the circuits from scratch and all that
Yes.
stuff.
But yeah. It's, I think, goddamn, this Groupon concept, that's like that's huge. That's freaking huge. Yeah, I could start pitching that to the local businesses here. This is finally
Absolutely.
starting to get to a point where I think I could like take something to
You know, they see me doing crafts, like the coffee shops know I'm doing something weird. Yeah. Take trash. Yeah. And make a coupon.
He's just crazy. He's a crazy guy.
All right. I like this plan.
this is
All
good.
right.
Yes. Us too.
If it works, it'll work everywhere. I mean, that's the other thing about this, is that like
It's not. It's not special to America.
Woo!
It's not special to anywhere. Yeah, I mean, definitely we'll have a centimeters at some point for the
And we're
rest of
testing
the
it in a
world.
city and in a town at the same time.
Yeah.
Testing it in a rural area and in a metro area.
Yeah, exactly. We'll do it. We'll do it in Denver, and you'll do it in rural Oregon, and we'll get it in New York, and then that's good. That's broad.
Okay, so I have for our action items
Yes.
to redesign the file so that it's one line,
Yeah.
and then put up a cube design with a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll fuck around with that.
Yeah, that's easy enough. We can do that.
Are you guys starting to get to where you can use Geometron to design these things, or are you using Inkscape? Or Inkscape works.
We're still using Inkscape because that's what talks to our laser at the moment.
Yeah, sure.
Um,
Yeah, so y'all can.
I'm gonna need a tutorial at some point, Trash, on how to use the tracer.
that tracer.
Yeah, sure. We could do that.
You mean for making the icons?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Okay. Can I just screen share? Do you have time?
please. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. Let me open Fire. There's no reason for me to open Firefox, but I'm just going to open Firefox because actually, no, let's go back here. So, okay. Share window. Here we go. So, all right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So I go and it says create a new Geometron icon. You see how I've got like a link for that?
Yeah,
Yes.
super easy.
So then I go in here and then there's global image feed.html.
Okay.
And this, if I go, Google Images search and I say, I don't know, think
Hotleaf.
of some.
Hot leaf. Yeah, do a marijuana leaf.
Okay.
Words and scones, since we were talking about dispensaries.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So, all right. So I'm gonna pick one at random, and I'm a pirate, so I just grab one. I don't care.
I'm a
I'll
pirate.
grab this one, and then I'm gonna right click on it. See how I say copy image link?
Yes.
Yes.
So I click on that. Then I go back over here, and I go back. So this is global image feed.html, and I paste that in there, and there it is.
Okay.
So now I go click on this link that says align. And now there's a bunch of images here, and I scroll through the images. Doody. And this is a combination of images that I've uploaded that are like actual files and links to global files on the internet. So now when I click on it, it appears here.
Mm-hmm.
See, I click on it, it appears. And then I've got these buttons. I can go shrink, grow. And then I can drag and slide this around like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then over here on the left-hand side, there's this thing that says save. If I click on that, then it saves whatever the position is.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Okay.
going to make this a little bit bigger with the small plus sign, and I'm going to save it again. I'm going to drag it around, and I'm going to save it again. I save it every time I move it because it doesn't automatically save when I move it, which is super irritating, and I'm sorry about that, but I'm using a JavaScript library that has some squirreliness to it, so whatever. Now that I have saved that, you see how there's a box with all of this stuff in? When I save, I'm saving this file. So this has like a width and an X position and a Y position and angle, so you can rotate it. There's this. I can also use the scale bar. Right now I'm sliding my finger on the scale bar, and I can slide my finger on the rotate bar to rotate it like that. So
Okay.
there's rotation.
Cool.
And then I can also rotate it with these arrows. So right, left. Okay. I got it right once. So now I say save, and then I click on the link to trace. And now I'm gonna click on, I'm gonna reset. So one way to reset is to hit this big red X with the circle. So if I do that, it resets. I can also reset if I start drawing stuff and then I say shift and then the vertical line. You know how there's like a backslash, and then above the backslash, there's a vertical line if you do shift. So shift, and that clears.
Okay.
So now when I want to do this, I have two choices. I can either use these buttons. So you see how there's these touch screen buttons. I can go left, 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 and delete is the X. And then I can go pixel up, pixel right, pixel up, pixel up. It's very tedious, okay? It's very, very, very tedious. I can also do it with keyboard keys. So on the keys, A, S, D, F are, A is pixel up, F is pixel right, S is pixel down, and D is pixel left. Okay, so it's like that. And then the keys right below it are Z is up, V is right, X is down, and C is left. So what you do is you try to get built up muscle memory for your left hand 4 fingers. So I go, and on the two, there's other ways you could do it. Like it's easy. We can change it in the code if you.
How do you access those like nuanced angles? That's one thing that I was confused about, because like all of your traced stuff is right on.
It's all just done by hand. Like I'm doing it right now. You see how I'm doing this, and I'm going.
Yeah.
Like it's like freehand art. Like we can definitely write an algorithm that traces, and that's something I'd like to do at some point. I'm sure when we get like more coders involved, somebody will have some library that they can use for that. But yeah, I'm just doing it by eyeball. Like I go doody 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 doo doo doody doo 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 doo. And there's no like hard and fast rules. You know, you can see how it's a very approximate thing. Like in the end, it looks like there's some grand plan or like I know what I'm doing, but
Genuinely,
this is really not a science. This is not, there's no fixed algorithm. Like you can see how there's actually, what I'm doing right now has no jaggedness in it at all. I'm going a perfect 45 degree. But it has a little bit of natural jaggedness just because it's pixels. So it's like you kind of work with what you've got. And that's why sometimes people will say, oh, can you make me a such and such? And it'll be something that has this really high level of detail. And the answer is no, because if you have too much detail of the wrong kind, it's just going to wash out in the pixels.
that makes a lot of sense.
It's very tricky. Like you can't, sometimes I'll think something is going to look awesome and it'll look terrible. And sometimes I'll think something is going to look terrible, and it turns out to actually look pretty decent. And it's a little hard to anticipate. So
This is like a second language for you. You are really quick at this.
You mentioned changing the code, and that's actually what I was going to suggest, because in the gaming world, say you're playing a first-person shooter, you move with left and right are A and D. And then forward and backward is W and S.
W, A, S, D, those 4.
Yeah, so you would, so in the gaming world, you put your ring finger on your left hand on A, and then your pointer finger on D, and then you use your middle finger to move back and forth.
I know what you mean. So, all right, so here's my question, because I've contemplated this before, and I'll do whatever you guys want. So if you have those 4 directions, but we want to have those 4 directions with a pixel and then also without a pixel. So should I do those 4 directions and then have the shift key be with pixels?
Oh, that's a really good idea. Like that would be very intuitive. Like shift would be draw, and just moving would be the same.
I'll do that. So you would have no shift is a move, and shift is a pixel.
Yes.
Okay. I'll do W.
Yeah, because then don't have to remember a couple sets of keys. As someone who is not a gamer at all, I appreciate this stuff.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, and I mean, I remember using, I remember playing Doom on the keyboard.
That's right, yep.
And we used to play Doom on the keyboard, and we used so many keys. Like there was, I feel like you were using both hands on like the entire keyboard to play Doom. It was ridiculous that nobody ever had a controller. It was all keys. So, the colors. I gotta say something about the colors. So the colors, I just use the numbers. So if I go to the beginning here and I hit 5, now you see how when I hit 5, it's stuck at the 4. I didn't do that until the last minute. And the reason I didn't do that is if I trace green over green, I got no contrast.
Yeah,
That's
that makes sense.
So I did it black on green. And so sometimes I'll pick something else that contrasts sharp. I'll do like the whole thing in red, or so I'll pick something that's totally different than any color in the image. And then I'll go back through and edit. So notice also the way this works is I move the cursor. If I go like that, see how it's black right up until the point
Oh,
that it
okay.
turns blue.
So it didn't turn blue until that point.
Right. So what I want to do is go to the very beginning, and I want to turn the whole thing green, which is 5. So the colors are 2 is red, 3 is orange, 4 is it's the resistor color codes. 4 is yellow,
Nice.
5 is green, 6 is blue, 7 is purple. And then I have other colors that I use in other parts of the system, but for the that's all that you need for that. And then those are just 1, 2, 3. One goes, oh yeah, and to go back to black, you want 1 is like a thick black,
Yeah.
but the one to the left of 1, the back tick,
Yeah.
that gets
Okay.
you back to black. So if I make this, let's say green, and then I go a little bit forward, and I do that, then I switch it back to black right there.
Got
So
it.
that's how that works. And
That makes
I'm going to make it green, and then I'm going to say save. See, there's a button in the upper right-hand corner, save.
Okay.
Got it.
And then when I go to the printer, there it is.
Oh, fuck
Then
yeah.
when
And
I
it
click
does
on
look
it,
legit.
it loads the text here.
Oh, wow.
And that's the code.
Excellent.
That's the code you send to the Arduino. So then if I go back, let's go back to where this thing is. And then icons, this is the icon feed. So now when I click on it, see how when I click on it, this thing fills up with numbers?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is very useful, because what that's going to do is like, that's if I copy paste that from one place to another, like let's say I want to take this pawn. I'll take this. And then I'm going to go like that. So now see how it just dropped the pawn in?
Okay, so you went to, you copied and pasted the numbers in that box.
Yeah.
And then
So
it
that's
just,
useful to go from one server to another. And then, so whichever server you're working on, when you make something and you like it, that's the code you can say. So there's 2 ways to say it, to like, because all the servers can always be wiped out. Like if I just go click, that's gone.
Yeah.
Click, that's gone. But if I go like this and I grab this, I go Control X, and then I go back over to like, I'm going to go back into like the chat on Skype, and then see how I just dropped into the Skype chat?
yes.
That's just raw text. So you can take that text and you can drop it into a text message or an email or a paste bin.
And somebody can, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
That,
Mm-hmm.
right. And then the cards also have that information. So if I go,
Okay.
or yeah, when I showed you the cards before, these are hyperlinks now. So like I can click on these things and go to stuff. And then this is how you can have this thing where there's like the physical card and the digital card. So I'm not sure how important this is. Like I'm trying to sort of de-emphasize, like I think this is going to be, I'm going to use it. And then I'm not going to like, all of this stuff I'm showing you now, like y'all are far enough along that it makes sense for you to use it. Hopefully lots of other people will be using it, but I'm trying to be cognizant of like,
It's not primary focus at the moment.
this is all a little technical for most people, I think. But you know, we can overcome
Watching
that.
you use it makes me feel better.
Oh yeah, check this out.
Oh,
Let me show you how this works. So like, this is, see how there's like just a IP address, 10.0.0.138. So that QR code, you can't scan any of this because this isn't on the internet, right? Like, but any of the devices that's on my home internet, like any random tablet or phone or whatever that scans that QR code will go to this page. And this page, if I click on any one of these, I can just click on like a random thing.
There it is. Yeah.
And that's media, and it's loading that automatically. And if I let's see, web page editor. Oh yeah, I've been playing with also trying to make more GeoCities looking.
Yeah, there it is. Look at this. Yes.
So I knew you would be into this. So,
yes.
This is there is some wonderful web developer out there who has developed a CSS. This is all using Bootstrap.css. They made a version of Bootstrap. This was for an April Fool's project at one point. They made a version of Bootstrap that just like automatically typesets your thing to look like GeoCities. So I feel like there's a certain age group of people who, if you're like, look, we're bringing GeoCities back, then that's going to get them to care.
Definitely. That'll be a great way to bring the Xers in.
Yeah, exactly.
And the elder millennials.
Yeah, Xers and elder millennials. There we are.
First off, as the verse starts, this is one hot song. I have not gone pop. Haven't budged from the spot where the words are. I'm still sitting right here. Y'all got lost. Some of y'all lean in like you heard wrong. Some of y'all lean in about to nod off. Some of y'all lean in like a girl boss. I'm about to lean in like a mall cop and segue to the food court. That's where I do work. All my shirts ain't too short. I hear Popeyes cooking up a new sport. That's fake news. I just said it for the views, dork. Trails mix when I move tracks. Brought a few snacks, juice packs, and a glue back. Certified when I say anything. Point blank, true facts. Rainmaker, Cusack. Someday there'll be nowhere that they can take
I like it. I'd listen to it for sure. And if I found it on a server in the middle of town, I'd be like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Great. And look at this. Like, this is a discography. I mean, if I went and bought like the discography of some band that's been around for this is a lot of songs.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like pay as you can, $15 minimum. I gave him like $25 or something like that. And so yeah, and I think it's just a proof of principle because there's so many musicians like this. Like TikTok's filled with these people.
Oh yeah.
TikTok has all these brilliant people who have like 10,000 followers. I mean, third person's got a lot more than 10,000 followers, but there's a lot of like really amazing artists on TikTok who have this huge amount of great music they've made. And then they have like a few hundred followers and like, but their stuff is great. It's just, I mean, this is the whole platform issue is.
Right. You're absolutely right. And it's the gatekeeping to get onto things where they're accessible and searchable is a challenge. So yeah, making them accessible.
Yeah, and so what this does is it says we're not doing searching. This is all curated. So it's not like, oh, I've got this server with a bunch of stolen songs. Go search for Metallica. It's like, oh, I come out somewhere and I'm like, well, these are the musicians that I'm promoting. Like it's all active participation by the the curators of the network. And I think
would
that's
really
what
love to see us really like target. This would be what we would be targeting. Would be like the positive and like more. I just want to say positive music. I don't want to say when I say positive music, I hear like in my brain, I think like Christian tunes, and that's not at all what I'm thinking. But there is like a whole genre that is emerging that is like life positive music. It's not talking about how miserable we are or how challenging the world is. It's very much about envisioning the world that we want to live in and manifesting that through our music and through what we put energy into. So that would be the kind of thing. And those are the artists that I really do see having a really hard time breaking that paywall.
That's right.
And getting any exposure.
Right. See, this is part of why I'm sharing third person's music, because there's a line in there about like turning pylons into planters and stuff like that. And so it's like, it's a little subtle because there's a whole bunch of stuff that's just like beats and whatnot, but the message is overlapping.
Right.
So it becomes this thing where the medium is the message. So like, yeah, it's just a bunch of hip hop albums. So what? But
once you listen to it and you start finding yourself realizing that your thoughts have shifted a little bit.
Yeah. And then it's connected. And that's why I feel okay just like doing this sort of randomly. And it's like, because they're not trying to make money on their thing. It's like a lot of what they do on TikTok is say like, hey, go outside and talk to your neighbors. And like a lot of third person's message is about trying to do community organizing and building community gardens and all this kind of stuff. And so you know, that message is in their TikTok, and which is connected to the music, and so yeah, it's very much overlapping, I think.
Perfect.
You can also just type here and it stays. So like if I reload the browser, that all stays. So this is just like a erase board.
Oh, cool.
And then I've got some books in here. I've got like my books and some random free books off the internet. So yeah, so that's kind of the three pillars of what I think we're doing at the moment, is basically like the pie crust server,
The
and then
hypercubes.
everything else is physical, and
then
the hypercube and the cards, and then like
the way I see it is that the robot is content that is on that platform. So like
Yeah.
we're making robots because we're content creators, and our content is the robots.
Got it. Yeah.
Right. So like, and that's how you get this funnel thing where there's like, how many people are doing Trash Robot? Well, now it's just a few, and then maybe later it'll be who knows, maybe even thousands. But what we want to do is build something where like people who are doing this kind of shenanigans in order to sell their stuff is like billions of people.
Yes.
And then the robot, the best case scenario, is still like thousands.
Sure. Yeah.
So you have this notion of like, what is the relationship between these
It's
things?
very much
Because
like
when
the
I come
precious
on
plastics
TikTok,
model, honestly. Like
it's
you
all
have
together.
some people who are building the machines, just like precious plastics. You have some
Right.
people who are building the machines, some people who are shredding. It's
Right.
very much that. You can figure out where you fit in
Right.
things.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank
Have
you,
you all been following this person who does the microwave pyrolysis?
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah.
been on his Discord, and he just dropped the new video of the new version of it with the barrel. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
He's a
exciting.
good welder.
Yeah,
His welding is, I mean, he's just bridging those gaps. It's really, I mean, damn. Yeah, he's a good welder. That's definitely his superpower right now, it seems like, because he's very
Nature
good
jab.
at
Yeah, that's his
welding
name.
things that are not easy to weld.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes. Like, it seems like it's really kind of similar to where we're at. Like, he's got a nice prototype, and then now he's trying to make like the prototype that people will be able to copy,
Yes.
but he doesn't want to put plans up until he's 100% sure. So yeah.
I'm excited for it because then, like you said, we can make those aluminum batteries, and that's just like, wow. We got one more-
I want to be putting those in here. Like, I would
Yeah.
love to have these include batteries.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck
We
yeah.
can be using his system to make the batteries and then packaging them in these, and then
Outrageous.
using these, so you just like pull a cube out and start powering stuff. Then
Yes.
that's some real futuristic solar
That's some
punk shit.
solar punk shit.
right there. Yes.
Definitely. Then you break all the cardboard down and turn it into mushrooms and eat it, and
Yes.
yeah,
That is
it's
exactly.
happening. There's another email that just came out from Hydroponic Trash. Are you on his email list?
I am not.
Yeah, sign up for his email list. Let me find it.
Okay.
Hydro-
Please forward it to me. I'm signed up to his TikTok, but not to the email.
Yeah, there's an email list, and then the email list ends up having links to the thing. So you can subscribe here. I'm going to drop this in the chat.
Okay.
And then he has links from the emails to the specific blog post. So there's like Off-Grid Internet. This is the one he just posted. It's freaking amazing. Off-Grid Internet, and then Off-Grid Solar is the one from before that, which is also amazing. So it's like a lot of the stuff we've been talking about, but he's put a ton of work into it. It's really solid in terms of like some of those little details that are frustrating. I find these details to be really frustrating. So yeah, I mean, we'll
Oh, that's
I think want to replace a lot of this technology, but I really like what he's been doing. So that's
Yes.
Yeah, it's great. It's one of these things where, like, if we had a company, I'd be really stressed out about what he's posting because it'd be like, damn, he's scooping us. But like, we want to get scooped. I don't want to figure this shit out. He's figuring it
Yep.
out
Yeah,
way better
exactly.
than we are. So
This is the future. It doesn't need to be a capitalistic, competitive
Yeah.
world
No.
anymore.
when
Like,
you're all on the same
Guys,
team, every
co-creative.
time somebody jumps ahead, it's
Collaborative.
just like makes your life easier. Now, this is great. I mean, he's got a lot of details here. Oh, I'm not screen sharing anymore. Sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. His last post was really cool because, well, let me back up a little bit. When he put out the trash picker with the Home Depot buckets,
Oh yeah.
immediately people were like, they're going to steal them, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, yeah.
And yes, some people did end up stealing the buckets, but then he made version 2.0,
Yeah.
which had the bucket attached to the picker. So if you wanted to steal the bucket or the picker, you have to take both. And so you're going to be picking up trash no matter what.
yeah, so even if you steal it, it's still a community service.
Yeah.
Still like no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, he really knows what he's doing. I think it's really solid. Yeah, I'm looking at his Twitter now. Yep. Yeah, very solid. All right. So yeah, I guess I don't know what's next. We got some what
All right, let me look at my list of things that I'm supposed to do. So
Okay.
I'm gonna change the keys so it's WAS and D.
Yes.
Um,
And shift.
And shift, yeah. Shift to
oh,
pixel.
shift with the shifts. Yeah, I got that. I
And
got
without shift, it's just movement of the cursor. Of the
Yeah, and I
shape.
think other than that, we're all just going to kind of keep doing what we were doing.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to do a lot more lasering right now. I think I'm going to
focus on like
Getting your
making
cube.
cubes. I don't know. When they get the fancy laser back up at work, I'll probably use that at some point. Like as little work as I've been doing at work, it's going to continue to go downhill as I get to towards my last week. I'm just going to be like, okay,
There's
I'm
nothing for
just
me to
gonna
do.
do trash shit like
Yeah.
continuously, and then because it's kind of a Hail Mary where not only am I not thinking that I'm gonna get fired, but like if I could get this thing to self-replicate at APL before I leave,
Mhm.
then if this thing starts to grow and the interns are doing it,
Yep.
then maybe in 6 months they'll give me a call and say, well, the interns are going nuts with this stuff, and like then there might be an opportunity to like work for them to
Yes.
continue the program. Like I don't think I can get that working in time to like keep the job, but I would totally work with them. So I might try to do some self-replicating media with the interns before I leave, but we'll see.
Mhm.
They have a lot of interns. There's like these intern pits. There's these rows and rows of tables that are just filled with interns. There's like just like long sequences of long tables that are all filled with interns.
Oh,
That sounds
wow.
wild.
That does.
I don't know what they're doing. It's very bizarre. It's unclear
seen-
what anyone can do with that many interns. That is
Right.
remotely
Have you
productive.
seen that video of inside of one of those factories in China? And it's just panning. It's just panning and panning and panning. And these factories are miles long. You're just like, when
Right.
is it going to stop?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
They used to make shit in this country.
Right.
Yep.
We will again.
This sounds great, and we will talk next Thursday.
All right, awesome. I'm pumped. And yeah, and definitely when in another little bit here when we move to Denver, I want to talk to your friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do some stuff.
It'll be good to get you two together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally. All right, awesome.
All right. Later.
Bye, Trash.
See ya. Good night.